We see it in the media all the time. I think a lot of people have all of these preconceived assumptions about teachers and the teaching profession. We have too many holidays. We work from 9 till 3. Teachers like to moan a lot. It's easy. All we do is teach. Children are angels all of the time. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you will have already seen from the video title, in today's video I asked my Instagram followers to respond to the question, what do you assume about teachers? Which I'm going to be reacting to, kind of setting the record straight based on my own opinions. Just a little disclaimer, this video is just a bit of fun. It's not meant to offend anyone or say that this is what absolutely everyone thinks about teachers. These are just some common stereotypes about teachers that I thought would be interesting to react to. So yeah, please don't take it all too seriously. I feel like if you are a teacher, you know what's coming. We hear this all the time. We have too many holidays, and people assume that during those holidays we don't think about work at all. I do believe that teachers get really great holidays, and that is definitely one of the perks of the job. But even in our kind of normal day-to-day working week, all of the teachers that I know do work well over their contracted hours, and a lot of teachers work at weekends and things like that as well. So even though like the hours do seem like they're great, it's not necessarily a reflection of the amount of work that we actually do to earn those holidays. We are so grateful for those holidays, we need it. I generally do have a bit of work that I need to do during the holidays to kind of plan ahead for returning to school. I think it does depend on the teacher, because I do know some teachers that will leave, you know, all of their work in the boot of the car for the length of the holidays and not think about it until it's time to go back. If you are organised enough, I think it is possible to enjoy your holidays as a teacher, you know, without having to catch up on work or think about any work related things. You hear this all the time, teaching is just one of those jobs that the to-do list is never ending. So I think if you are a passionate teacher and you do allow yourself time, you know, to think about work during the holidays, then you're going to do that anyway. I'm still really active on like my teacher Instagram and obviously my YouTube channel, which has a big teaching focus. So I do tend to think about work during the holidays, and teaching is known for being one of those jobs that is notoriously so hard to switch off from. So it really just depends on the person for this one, I would say. The next assumption is that we work from 9 till 3 and that we leave when the kids do. I'm assuming that those types of assumptions are coming from people that don't really understand what it's like to teach. As teachers, we have our contact time, which is when we are actually in the classroom with the pupils themselves, and in that time it is really hard to get any of the other ongoing jobs done. When you are in a classroom with potentially over 30 children, it can be really hard to get other things done that need to be done, so a lot of those jobs are completed after school or in the mornings before school. It depends on the type of person you are. In my NQT year, I was notorious for always being one of the first in the building in the morning and always being one of the last to leave. That's definitely not something to be proud of. It is so important to have a work-life balance, but I think for new teachers it does take time to be able to work out that work-life balance and kind of get into the swing of things. Now that I'm a fully qualified teacher, that's something that I've definitely got a lot better at. In my opinion, there is a lot of bureaucracy in the teaching profession. There's a lot of paperwork. There is a lot of time spent not in front of the children where we're planning and assessing for learning, so it is a very demanding job. There are just so many things that need done that take a lot of time, whether that's marking your jotters, cutting out, laminating to put up on displays. You know, the to-do list is never ending. It's definitely not a 9 till 3 job as a lot of people assume that it is. I think as a teacher we become master multitaskers. You need to be so driven and organised as a teacher. It would be physically impossible for me to leave at 3 o'clock with the children, because there's always, you know, someone that comes into your classroom for a chat, or there's things that need picked up or things that need sorted for the next day. There's rarely been a time where I've left any sooner than about 3:30. Most mornings I do aim to arrive at work anytime between 7:45 and 8 o'clock, and then that just gives me loads of time in the morning. By the time I get to 3 o'clock at the end of the day, I am usually absolutely knackered. By the time I get to 4 o'clock, my brain feels frazzled and I just can't concentrate, and I know that I need to go home, so I do prefer to work in the mornings. The next assumption about a career in teaching is that it's easy. Again, I think this is probably the opinion of people that don't really understand what actually goes on in the classroom and how hard teachers have to work. People think that you just talk to a class of children and tell them what to do and they learn, and it's not always as easy as that. Every child is different, every classroom is different, and as a teacher you're constantly adapting your strategies to try and help them to learn new things. I know that when I was a student at university, you know, the primary teaching students were always looked on as a less academic degree because we had different modules in art and drama and a lot of kind of practical based activities, so people didn't see it as being as academic a course, which is completely untrue. But I think there's that same kind of stereotype for primary teachers that we spend all day colouring in and, you know, learning the alphabet and things like that, but there is a lot more to it than that. The next one made me laugh quite a lot because there is a bit of truth to it, and that is that teachers like to moan a lot. I feel like everyone likes a good moan about their job every now and again. Sometimes you do just need to let off a bit of stress if there's something that you're unhappy about. That's completely normal. In my opinion, teaching is just the best job in the world. I really couldn't see myself doing anything else, and I know a lot of other teachers that are just as passionate about their job. Education is such an important industry. What could be perceived as moaning is just teachers wanting the best for their children and for our schools. A lot of people assume that children are angels all of the time. I think we all know, even from our own experiences as pupils, that that is just not the case. And I'm not saying that this never happens. There are some classes where behaviour isn't really an issue, but I do think that a lot of people sometimes assume that teachers have these magical abilities to control 30 pupils at the one time. We do have a lot of strategies up our sleeve to manage behaviour, and we do spend a lot of time with pupils so we can build really positive relationships with them. We try the best that we can, but I do not have a magic wand, and it is something that I've struggled with in the past. There are always going to be those pupils that, you know, don't enjoy going to school and that are difficult to engage in the classroom, so we definitely have a very challenging job. I think a lot of parents were able to experience that when we were doing the online learning from home. Effectively, they had to become teachers, and I think a lot of parents experienced some of the stresses that we do in the classroom when trying to motivate their children to do their home learning. And in some cases, you know, parents only have a few children and teachers can have classes of up to 30, so hopefully more parents can empathise with teachers now. The next one was a really interesting one, and it's something I've not really thought about myself, and that is that all we do is teach. Reading that makes me think of those scenarios where you bump into a pupil like in a supermarket or something like that when you're outside of school, and they always seem so shocked because it's so strange seeing a teacher outside of the classroom. And that's always been so funny for me because we do have lives outside of the classroom, and I think a lot of people forget that. A lot of teachers have so many other things going on in their lives, and yet I think a lot of people assume that teachers should be putting all of their time and energy into trying to become the greatest teacher of all time. We do, you know, have our own hobbies outside of the classroom, and I think that's really important because we all need our downtime away from the classroom, and that's a big reason why I'm trying to branch out a little bit with the type of content that I'm making on my YouTube channel. As passionate as I am about teaching, and I love creating all of my teacher-based content, and there's also a lot of things that I'm interested in that are not teaching related, like doing my makeup and vlogging, so I am going to try and start making some more content for my channel. The next assumption was one that really surprised me because I don't really agree with it, and that was that younger teachers are more enthusiastic than older teachers. I found this one really interesting because over my time, you know, as a student and now as a qualified teacher, I've worked with such a wide range of teachers of all ages and levels of experience, and I definitely would disagree with this one. There are definitely teachers that are more enthusiastic than others, but I don't think that's related to age whatsoever. I think sometimes children have that stereotype that, you know, a younger teacher is going to be a lot more fun, but that is definitely not the case in my opinion. Anyway, that is it for the assumptions that I received. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you give it a like. Feel free to add your opinions about some of the things I discussed in today's video down in the comments. For more teaching related content, please make sure you subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!